Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss with you Module 6 of Quarter 4 in Science 7. This is your Science 7 teacher, Sir Topper. Before anything else, let us have the opening prayer.
Dear Lord, we thank you. Amen.
Amen. Good morning, everyone. For today, let's have this one. Kumusta ka? Kumustahan muna tayo. Ikaw ba ay mabuti, masaya, malungkot, or masama ang pakiramdam? So just key in one of them in our class point. Okay, thank you. Let's proceed. What I need to know. Hello, how are you? Have you ever wondered why Philippines have only two seasons? Most countries of the world have only two seasons. This is because most countries lie within the tropical zone. This module will help you to understand why seasons change, why some countries only have two and other countries have four. There is a beauty to be found in the changing of the Earth's seasons, and there is a reason why everything changes. Be a scientist yourself. Let's work hand in hand as we find out the tilt of the Earth and how it affects the changes in season. Our milk are the most essential learning competency for this module. Using models, relate the tilt of the Earth and the seasons. And after going through this module, we are going to discuss and explain the relationship of the Earth's axis tilt and the position which determines the season. Number 2, identify the different seasons and their characteristics. And lastly, number 3, explain why there are different seasons in different regions of the world. And let's proceed with this capsule review. Directions: read and understand the questions carefully and choose your correct answer and key in our class point up. Number 1 question. What are the four seasons of Earth? Is it A, rainy, summer, dry, and wet? B, autumn, spring, fall, winter? C, spring, summer, fall, winter? And D, summer, fall, autumn, and winter? Correct. It's letter C. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Let's proceed with number 2. What causes the season? A, the Earth's revolution. B, the Earth's tilt. C, the Earth's axis. Or D, the Earth's rotation? Correct. It is because of the Earth's tilt. It's letter B. Number 3 question. When will we have the shortest shadow? A, during spring. B, during summer. C, during autumn. And D, during winter? Correct. It is during summer. Letter B. Number 4 question. What is the hottest season in the year? Is it A, autumn? B, spring? C, summer? D, winter? Correct. It's summer. Letter C. Number 5 question. When will we have the longest shadow? Is it A. Spring, B. Summer, C. Autumn, D. Winter? Correct. Letter D. Winter. Number 6 question. What is the coldest season? Is it A. Autumn, B. Spring, C. Summer, D. Winter? Correct. It is letter D. Winter. Number 7 question. Which season has the shortest days and has longer nights? A. Autumn, B. Spring, C. Summer, D. Winter? That is correct. It is letter D. Winter. Number 8. What season do animals hibernate and migrate to different areas? Is it A. Autumn, B. Spring, C. Summer, D. Winter? Correct. Again, it's letter D. Winter. Number 9. What is the event described as the shortest day of the year? A. Vernal equinox, B. Winter solstice, C. Summer solstice, and D. Autumnal equinox? Correct. It is winter solstice. Letter B. Number 10 question. Why are the seasons different in northern and southern hemispheres? A. The Earth's distance to the sun is constant. B. The Earth is continuously rotating around the sun. And C. The sun is moving around the Earth, so one half the Earth is heated and the other half is frozen. Or letter D. During summer or winter, one part of the planet is closer or farther to the sun. Correct. During summer or winter, one part of the planet is closer or farther to the sun. It's letter D. Number 11 question. When it is summer in southern hemisphere, which of the following best describes the tilting of the earth in the northern hemisphere? Is it A. The earth is tilted towards the sun, B. The earth is tilted away from the sun, or C. The distance between southern and northern hemisphere is constant, or D. The distance between both hemispheres are not constant and always changing? Correct. It's letter B. The earth is tilted away from the sun. Number 12 question. Why do seasons change? A. Seasons change because the sun is directed to the southern hemisphere only. Letter B. Seasons change because the sun is tilted to both northern and southern hemisphere. C. Seasons change because the earth is stationary, directing its rays to northern and southern hemisphere. Or D. Seasons change because the direct rays of the sun shift from one hemisphere to the other as the earth goes around the sun. Correct. It's letter D. Seasons change because the direct rays of the sun shift from one hemisphere to the others as the earth goes around the sun. Number 13 question. Which part of the earth experiences summer in December and the winter in June? A. Northern hemisphere, since sun is tilted towards it on June and December. B. Northern hemisphere because it receives direct rays from the sun in December and lesser in June. C. Southern hemisphere because it receives direct rays from the sun in December and lesser energy in June. Or D. Both southern and northern hemisphere because they receive equal rays directed from the sun in December and June. Correct. Letter C. Southern hemisphere because it receives direct rays from the sun in December and lesser energy in June. Number 14 question. Do the tilt of the earth and the revolution around the sun affects the seasons? A. No, because it only affects the earth's length of day. B. No, because it's the earth's distance from the sun that affects the seasons. Or C. Yes, because this allows different parts of the earth to receive the same amount of energy. Or D, yes, because this allows different parts of the Earth to receive different amounts of energy. And you are correct. Letter D. Yes, because this allows different parts of the Earth to receive different amounts of energy. Let's have the last question for this capsule review. Lena lives in the Japan and her friend Ali lives in Australia. During February, Lena is experiencing winter while Ali is experiencing summer. What is the reason for this? A. Ali lives in a high altitude place compared to Lena. B. Lena lives in a high latitude place compared to Ali. C. Lena and Ali's country have same distance from the equator. Or D. Lena and Ali are living in countries that are in opposite hemispheres. Correct. That's letter C. Lena and Ali's country have same distance from the equator. Congratulations for those who got it right. Okay, for today we're going to talk about the seasons. What are the seasons and how do they happen? So this time let's have this one. It's a game. It's a decoding time. So direction, substitute the numbers to their corresponding letters to decode the hidden name in relation with the seasons of the earth. Write the letter on each blank under number. Look for the equivalent letter of each number inside the box. So you are given 1 to 26 correspond to A to Z. Let's start. It is located at approximately 66.5 degrees north of the equator. It is the beginning area where the sun will not rise during winter solstice and will not set during summer solstice. And this is the code. We have 1, 18, 3, 29, 3, and space 3, 9, 18, 3, 12, 5. So it is composed of two words. Okay, the correct answer is Arctic Circle. Very good. Number 2 question. This line of 0 degrees latitude is the starting point when referring to other points towards north or south pole of the globe. And this is the hint. So given one word with 5, 15, 21, 1, 20, 15, 18. It's composed of 7 letters. And the correct answer is equator. Very good. Let's have number 3. It is located at approximately 23.5 degrees south of the equator. This line marks the point farthest to the south at which the sun is hanging directly upward at noon. So this is the wow. So it is composed of 3 words. It is 6 letters for the first word, then 2 letters for the second word, and 9 letters for the third word. What is this? Correct. It is the Tropic of Capricorn. It is located at approximately 23.5 degrees north of the equator. This line marks the point farthest to the north at which the sun is hanging directly upward at noon. And this is the hint. Again, it is composed of 3 words. The first word comprised of 6 letters. The second word 2 letters. And the third word is 6 letters. Okay, the correct answer is Tropic of Cancer. Let's have the last question. It is located at approximately 66.5 degrees south of the equator. No permanent residents are found within the boundaries of this latitude. And this is our clue. Okay, it's composed of 2 words. The first word comprises of 9 letters. The second word is 7 letters. Okay, the correct answer is Antarctic Circle. Very good. Congratulations for those who got it right. Let's have test 2. Write true if the statement is correct and false if the statement is wrong. Let's have number one. Latitudes run in an east to west direction. Is it true or false? Yes, it's true. Lines of latitude are parallel to one another and never meet. That's true also. The equator is at 90 degrees latitude. False. It is 0 degree. Prime meridian is the major line of latitude. No, it is false. It should be the major line of longitude. The major line of latitude is the equator. Let's have number 5. Lines of latitude get shorter toward the poles, with the equator having the longest line. Is it true or false? That is true. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's proceed. What's new? Hello there. You are already familiar with the major lines of latitude. Let's now discover together the seasons of the earth. Are you ready? Let's start. Different places on earth experiences different temperatures and varying length of daytime throughout the year. These are brought about by the changing seasons. Countries located farther north or south of the equator get to experience 4 different seasons. However, it is not the same for the countries located near or at the equator. Listed below are the 4 seasons of the earth. So we are given spring. Starts when the day and night are the same length on March 20. The weather gets warmer and sunnier. Trees and plants start to grow. Many animals have their babies in spring. Next is summer. Summer begins on the longest day of the year. In the north, this is on 21 of June. Summer is usually the warmest and the sunniest time of the year. Fruit grows on trees and plants. Young animals grow bigger and stronger. The third one is autumn. Autumn starts when the day and night are the same length again on September 21. During autumn, the leaves change color and fall from the trees. Some animals collect food before winter comes. And the last one is winter. Winter begins on the shortest day of the year. In the north, this is on 21st of December. The weather is colder, and in some places, there is lots of snow. Plants and trees stop growing. Some animals like bats and bears find places to hide and sleep. This is called hibernation. So let's have this activity. We're going to complete the following sentences with the correct word and choose the word from the box. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. So you're given spring, autumn, summer, and winter. Are you ready? And our answers can be located at the middle of this activity. Okay, so let's have the answer. Spring. All the trees and plants are in bloom. The birds start singing sweet songs. The weather gets hot. The trees bring new leaves on their branches. Swarms of bees rush at the flowers. Colorful butterflies fly up in the air. How about summer? The weather is warmer. The nights are very long. People wear shorts and sunglasses. Okay, number 4. Children love to go to the beach to have a bath into the sea. Everyone loves to eat ice cream. The fruits ripen and are ready to be eaten. Let's proceed with autumn. Leaves are falling off trees. The birds migrate southward. The crops are harvested. The weather is cool and warmer days are getting shorter. People has a lot of leaves to sweep. People wear raincoats and carry an umbrella. Let's proceed with the last, winter. The white layer of snow covers the ground. People wear thick coats, gloves, and boots. The weather is very cold. Children love making snowmen. The days get longer, and snowflakes dance in the air. So, we describe the 4 seasons using this activity. What is it? The earth orbits the sun. It maintains its 23.5 degrees tilt on its axis. Among the obvious effects of this tilting is the way the sun's rays are focused on places on Earth, which brings about the changes in seasons on Earth. Countries located 23.5 degrees to 66.5 degrees north and south latitudes experience four seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. The areas where the four seasons are experienced is known as the temperate zone. Around June 21 or 22 of each year, the Earth's axis is tilted toward the Sun. At this time of the year, the Tropic of Cancer, which is located at 23.5 degrees north, receives vertical rays from the Sun, while the rest of the Earth receives slanting or oblique rays. This is the summer solstice, and this marks the beginning of the summer season in the Northern Hemisphere. At this time, the Northern Hemisphere experiences longer days than night, leading to higher surface temperatures. Also, during this season, areas beyond the Arctic Circle, located at 66.5 degrees north, receive 24 hours of daylight, and the areas beyond the Antarctic Circle, located at 66.5 degrees south, are in complete darkness for 24 hours. This is because the southernmost limit of the sun's rays is at 66.5 degrees south. This means that if it is summer in the northern hemisphere, then it is winter in the southern hemisphere. By the month of September, the vertical rays of the sun have moved from a Tropic of Cancer to the equator 0 degrees latitude, and the rest of the earth receives slanting rays. This month marks the beginning of autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in southern hemisphere. On September 22 or 23, the length of day and night is equal everywhere on Earth. This is called autumnal equinox. By December, the Earth reaches half of its path around the Sun. The northern hemisphere is now tilted away from the Sun. The vertical rays of the Sun now strike the Tropic of Capricorn, located at 23.5 degrees south. The northernmost limit of the sun's rays at 66.5 degrees north, so the areas beyond the Arctic Circle experience 24 hours of darkness. December 21 or 22 is the winter solstice, and it marks the beginning of winter in the northern hemisphere. During this time, countries in the northern hemisphere experiences longer nights than days. It is then summer in the southern hemisphere, and all the conditions are reversed. As the Earth continues to revolve, it reaches three-fourths of its path around the Sun in the month of March. As in the month of September, the vertical rays of the Sun are gained directly over the equator. March 20 or 21 marks the spring equinox, and this is the beginning of the spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in southern hemisphere. The length of the day and night is equal at this time everywhere on Earth. Within a year, we experience two solstices and two equinoxes. This attributes to the tilt of the Earth's axis that changes the Sun's position relative to the Earth's equator, the Earth's motion around the Sun, and the spherical shape of Earth. So Earth has seasons because its axis is tilted. Earth rotates on its axis as it orbits the Sun, but the axis always points in the same direction. As you can see, there's the figure 2 of northern and southern hemisphere. December 21 or 22, winter at the north of the equator and summer at the south of the equator. The sun shines directly on the southern hemisphere and indirectly on the northern hemisphere. On March 2021, spring at the north of the equator and autumn at the south of the equator. The sun shines equally on the southern and northern hemispheres. On June 21 and 22, summer at the north of the equator and winter at the south of the equator. The sun shines directly on the northern hemisphere and indirectly on the southern hemisphere. During September 22 and 23, autumn at the north of the equator and spring at the south of the equator. The sun shines equally on the southern and northern hemispheres. Seasons in the Philippines. The Philippines is in the tropical climate zone. Tropical climate regions receive solar radiation at high angles all throughout the year. Consequently, people of the Philippines do not experience the four seasons described in the previous section. Instead, the seasons in the Philippines are described as the wet and dry seasons. When it seldom rains, the season described as dry season. When there is much rainfall, it is described as the wet season. What's more, so you are given here an activity. So you're going to analyze the illustration below, then answer the following questions on the right. So, for the northern hemisphere, which positions A, B, C, or D of the Earth represents? Is it the summer solstice, the autumnal equinox, the winter solstice, spring equinox? And the longest day of the year in southern hemisphere occurs at that position. And the length of the daylight in the northern hemisphere at position A is blank than position B. Is it longer or shorter or equal? As the Earth moves from position C to D, thus the duration of daylight in the northern hemisphere get longer, shorter, or remain the same. So this is our answer. For number one, we have summer solstice. It is point C. That is on the left part of the sun. Autumnal equinox is letter D, the north part of the sun. Winter solstice is point A, that is on the east of the sun. And spring equinox is letter, okay, I think that is letter B. The longest day of the year in southern hemisphere occurs at what position? Okay, that is position C. The longer of daylight, the length of daylight in the northern hemisphere at position A is longer than the position B. 7. As the Earth moves from the position C to position D, does the duration of the daylight in northern hemisphere get longer, shorter, or remain the same? It will remain the same. Very good. Let's move on. What I have learned. Read the paragraph carefully and identify the correct words that fit in the given sentences in the box below. And the box composed of these words: axis, shortest, equator, solstice, equinox, summer, 365.25, sun, hemispheres, winter. So let's see. The Earth takes what? Days to orbit the sun. The Earth is also spinning on an blank tilted at 23 degrees. This means that different parts of the Earth receive more direct rays from the blank at different times of the year. The blank divides the Earth into northern and southern hemisphere. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, it is blank in that hemisphere. 1. On 2 days a year, both hemispheres receive equal hours of day and night. These are called blank. A blank is when the sun is at its greatest distance from the equator. And blank solstice is sometimes called the blank day. Let's have the answer. For number 1, the Earth takes 365.25 days to orbit the sun. The Earth is also spinning on its axis, tilted at 23 degrees. This means that different parts of the Earth receive more direct rays from the sun at different times of the year. The equator divides the Earth into northern and southern hemispheres. When the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, it is summer on that hemisphere. On 2 days a year, both hemispheres receive equal hours of day and night. These are called equinox. A solstice is when the sun is its greatest distance from the equator. And winter solstice is sometimes called the shortest day. Okay, so we answered these questions. So what can I do? So we're going to create a poem about season. So concentrate on number form, column number 4 for you to have a good score. Word choices and main ideas and organization. Okay, so let's have this assessment. I'm going to read only the question and going to answer it. Okay, directions. Read and understand the questions carefully and choose the answer and key in our class point app. Number 1. During which season do the leaves change color and fall off the trees? Correct. It's during autumn. Number 2. How often does the earth orbit the sun? Correct. Every 365 days. Which pole is pointed towards the sun when the Northern Hemisphere is experiencing winter? Correct. South Pole, letter D. What is the result of Earth's tilt? Correct. Seasons. A. Number 5. What is the shape of the Earth's orbit around the sun? Correct. Elliptical or slightly oval, letter C. The Earth is tilted planet. What is the degree of tilt? Correct. 23.5 degrees, letter A. Number 7. What does rotation mean? Correct. An object spinning on its axis, letter A. Number 8. What are the names of the days when day and night are of equal duration? Correct. Letter D. Vernal equinox and autumnal equinox. Number 9. What does revolution mean? It means an object moving around another object, and that is letter D. It is the season that causes the length of daylight to change. Correct, letter D. It depends on the tilt of the earth as it moves around the sun. Which of the following best describe the tilt of the earth during the spring and fall equinoxes? The earth is tilted neither toward or away from the sun, letter D. Which of the following best describes the tilt of the earth when it is summer in the Southern Hemisphere? Correct. The earth is tilted away from the sun, letter C. Which diagram shows the illumination of the earth in North Pole during the first day of summer? Correct. Letter A. 14. While Anna is enjoying her summer vacation, she noticed that during summer the sunrise is earlier in the morning compared to other months of the year. Can Anna enjoy longer daytime during summer compared to any other months of the year? No, because during summer the sun rises early but also sets early. Letter D. Let's have number 15. Why do seasons change? Correct. Letter C. Seasons change because the earth is stationary, directing its rays to northern hemispheres always. Okay, so we have here additional activities. Earth seasons change due to the planet's angle of tilt, which is 23.5 degrees relative to our orbit around the sun. This varies the energy received on the different regions of Earth, leading to seasons. What will happen if the tilt of the Earth changes to 90 degrees or 0 degrees? Will the energy received of the different regions of the earth remain the same to have seasons? Okay, so you are going to do this as your activity, additional activity. Earth's tilt, 90 degrees, 0 degrees, illustration given, and you are going to have your explanation, and that will be your assignment. Okay, if we don't have any question, this is Sir Topper, your Science 7 teacher, saying thank you and good morning.